morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is Michelle, and I am the founder and director of Inside Out Well. I started this journey with a clear purpose to help individuals cultivate sustainable, holistic well-being, physically, mentally, and emotionally. As a businesswoman and a mother, I understand how demanding life can be and how easy it is to neglect your health in pursuit of success. Inside Out Well was created to bridge that gap, to remind us that our well-being is not a luxury, but a necessity, and often the very foundation of our success. So this brings me to why we're here today. This three-part webinar series is designed to explore the often overlooked connections between our health, mindset, and personal growth. It's titled Your Wellbeing, the Untapped Power Behind Your Success. Because our well-being is that hidden gem, the silent driver that determines whether we thrive or struggle. My hope is that each session offers you valuable insights and practical tools you can apply in your own life. Whether it's small, consistent changes to your fitness routine, recognizing and addressing emotional roadblocks, or finding the courage to take the next big step in your personal or professional life, this series is designed to inspire and empower you. Last week, in part 1, titled What's Holding You Back, we focused on emotional well-being with Miss Lin Pei Min, our experienced counselor who has been instrumental in helping individuals navigate emotional challenges and develop resilience. In that session, in part 1, we spoke about breaking the stigma around mental health and counseling, what to expect in a counseling session, and where we can find affordable mental health support. Today, in part 2, if not now, when, we are together with Maria Sahota, executive coach, who will guide us on how to break through self-doubt and take actionable steps towards our goals. Maria has extensive experience in leadership development with a proven track record in empowering individuals to achieve their goals and unlock their full potential. Today's session will cover recognizing self-sabotaging behaviors and limiting beliefs, building sustainable motivation and accountability, and strategies to set and achieve meaningful goals. Remember to send in your questions throughout the session in the chat box. We'll dive into them during the last 15 minutes. We will also raise questions that we have received directly over email and WhatsApp prior to today's session. So Maria, we're excited to learn from you. Perhaps to kick things off, let's start with one question we always get, which is, what is life coaching exactly and how does it help people?
Thanks, Michelle, for having me. I would start with life coaching is about helping individuals unlock their potential, gain clarity, and take actions towards their goal. And how does that help is it depends on which part of the life you are in and what you want help with. Sometimes it's career, sometimes it could be your relationship, sometimes it's just if you are just trying to figure out what are my values, where am I, where I want to go. So you just want clarity, and then you take actionable steps. A life coach can help you to structure a plan to take actionable steps towards where you want to go.
Okay, so I guess a follow-up question was in fact I just got this question the other day from somebody who was calling me asking, well, what's the difference between an executive coach, a life coach, a career coach, a relationship coach? My answer to that was actually a life coach covers all bases, to be honest. They said that maybe one of them just one like a life coach, a career coach may just be very focused in wanting to tackle career-based questions, but the life coach actually covers all depending on the needs of that particular client. Did I communicate that accurately?
I think you did it. You did a great job. So that's exactly how it is. And I would also say, like, when I have clients who have like specific topic, who come with a mindset of like, okay, this is where I am in my career, and I want to change this to that. They have even specific timelines for that, and it's very interesting when they start talking, when they start sharing, and when we start exploring. Everything connects back to their life, their personal life, and everything connects back to the human being. So a life coach is more like you also described, is whatever topic you come with a coach with, you can say to your career coach, a life coach will actually coach the whole you, the whole person. That's actually one of the things we have done in my coaching studies, that we always say, like, one of the cornerstones are coach the whole person.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? I don't think any of us can kind of split ourselves up and just be coached on one aspect and not the other. Certainly at Inside Out Well, that's what we focus on, is that completely like holistic well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, inside and out. So thank you for validating our experience and our knowledge. Last week we had Miss Lim Pei Min, right, our counselor. We've asked her this question, and we're going to ask the same question to you. And I think the answers will be the same, but nonetheless, I want to hear from you. How is coaching different to counseling?
Yeah. Um, Another great question, Michelle. So coaching and counseling, I would say, so when we are going to counselor, so we are often looking for advice. I think that would be the first differentiator. Um, a counselor would give you some kind of advice. And the first thing with the coaching is that, to differentiate that, is that coach is not giving you advice.
Mm.
Coach is helping you to figure out what you already know, what you already have, because it's not about, like, I always give the example of like a soccer coach. A soccer coach is always sitting at the bench on the side and is never gonna kick the ball for the footballer or for the player, right? But the coach knows the strengths and guide them and help them to coach them on their individual strengths, so they know when to kick and who is capable of what. But coach is always on the bench on the side, is never going to go and kick the ball. That's exactly how it works in life, that you come to a coach, and coach will give you actionable steps towards your own strengths. Like, it's kind of a reminder that
Mm.
that's inside you. You have to use it. You got to take action. The counselor, which I said on the other side, is can make a more like a clear advice plan for you, that this is how you should do. But the coach will remind you, this is what you know you can do, right?
Mm.
So if you understand the difference, that's the
Yeah.
main difference. And I know that you didn't ask for the therapy. Maybe you'll ask later. But there is another differentiator between a therapy and coaching. So I can
Mm-hmm.
explain later. Or if I yeah. So it's
You can cover it now.
yeah, so therapy is also like, if when you people also often ask, like, do you need a therapist or a coach or a counselor, and we sometimes can tend to be confused. So therapy is more like a past trauma, past healing, emotional healing. That
Mm.
is, if you are in that phase of life, that yes, we would advise. But coaching is more forward thinking. So
Mm.
the big differentiator is like past and
Mm.
forward. And there are a lot of steps you have to take, of course, for and approach is very different. How the
Mm.
coach approaches, how the counselor approaches, and how the therapist approaches.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it resonates with what Paymin had explained as well, which is counseling really is helping you to do a bit of a software upgrade when it comes to understanding your emotions, helping you with your resilience, giving you coping strategies. One thing we corrected last week was she explained a lot of people think that counseling is really for people who have something or feel like there's something wrong, or they're trying to fix something broken, or they're going through certain mental disorders, or they're worried about not seeking counseling because they didn't want to hear that they had a mental disorder, right? And she clarified that really counseling is to help you figure out, okay, are there certain actions or certain behaviors or certain thoughts actually that are limiting me? And let's unpack that, right? Why do you believe so? Why do you think that? And help to reframe how the person looks at things or assesses a situation. Now, from what I hear from you, Maria, coaching is forward thinking. It's once you understand maybe our own personal obstacles, I see mental obstacles, or the wrong framing or our perspectives. Having a coach will help us to plan forward, based on the goals that we want at this point in time. Now, whether it's a career goal, whether it's a relationship goal, whether it's just, or even a financial goal, right? A coach will help to sit down and understand how do we get you there. Don't
Yes.
give advice, but you will work to help the person figure out the appropriate roadmap to get that person there. Have I reflected that correctly?
That's correct, and that's a great point because that's why I mentioned in the start that it's not about fixing. You're not broken, so
Mm,
that's why we always start with the coaching session. Is like, okay, so some people also hesitate to come to a coach because it's like you said, to going to the counselor, that am I in, like, do I have mental issues, right? It's the same for coaching as well. People hesitate to have a coach because it's like, oh, what's wrong with me?
yeah.
So that's the first thing you need to kind of eliminate within your thoughts, that it's nothing wrong or nothing is to be fixed.
Yeah.
Coaching is like a guideline, like someone who is like holding you accountable, and for your own actions, for your own thoughts, your own ideas, your own vision, your own goals. So
Mm,
it's kind of like a partner you have in
mm.
life, so which will just hold you accountable for the actions, and so that you are consistent and you're committed to where you want to go.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Maria. A lot of people think and like to say and are proud to say that I have so and so as my mentor. I've got somebody at work, she or he is my mentor, and they're happy to declare that. But though not as many people are open to say, I have a life coach, because
Mhm.
it always triggers that perception, right or wrong, that that person doesn't know how to sort out his or her own life, right? You need another adult to tell you how to live your life, when that's not it at all.
Not at all.
Mm.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's if anything, I think those who have encountered such people, those who actually have a life coach, not a mentor, but a life coach, are really your successful ones, because they're very determined, they're very aligned, they are on a very clear path. And it's so obvious when someone has a life coach in their life, because of the way, and they're very admirable people. And usually when I dig into them, because I'm always look out for successful people and try to find out, what's their secret sauce, right? And oftentimes it's because they have a coach in their life. It's not something that they get every month or every week, but it's somebody that they have and can activate as and when they need to, whether it's a year, whether it's every 6 months, but they have one, you know.
And that's a great point, Michelle. And that reminds me of actually bringing out that point that the coach is also a kind of reflection of yourself.
Mm.
Because as a coach, when I do have clients, I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me, who I am, what my experience is. It's not about me. It's all about the client. It's all
Yeah.
about, so you are mirroring the client. If the client has emotions, they come with this day with this, which has been heavy. So you try to like be at there. Like we also have a corner stores that say you have to be there where the client is, meet the client where it is, he or she is. And that's the beauty of it. The reason for that is exactly what it is, because we are reflecting, we're kind of
Mm.
showing the mirroring, showing you who you are. And then in that way, so to your point, when you say like some people have it like for 6 months, or like after, like they decide when they want a coach, what is that? Because they're
Yeah.
strong, their mind is strong to get them like a hint of like, okay, now you're off track, so get on track. So you need your accountable partner. That could be the life coach, right?
Mhm.
So the people who have built the mind at that level, that they are kind of saying to themselves like, okay, now is the time to
Yeah.
talk to my coach. And the
Yeah.
coach is who? You are talking out loud your own thoughts and
Mm.
vision and goals. It's you talking to yourself. And that is amazingly helpful. That has an amazing um, like effect on the transformation part of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are some of the common themes you see among your clients?
Most common is career.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I have now experienced that it's also the most easy topic to come up with. So when we are in some kind of difficult situation in life, of course, it impacts career, it impacts personal life, and it impacts like whatever that is. If your career is not good, it's gonna impact your personal life. If your personal life is disturbed, it impacts our career. So just to give these two examples, so they are interconnected. So when we often go to the coach, we put career as the first one. Maybe that's not even the issue. So that's something I have experienced in my coaching life now, that it's easy for them to bring up career, but it ends up having some other issues. And that's why I think also is, I believe also is a life coach is important in your life, because wherever you want to start doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
more about getting the clarity of wherever you're stuck in life.
Yeah.
And that only happens when you have someone who is actually asking you the right questions.
So you're saying that basically a coach is somebody who knows how to ask the right questions.
Exactly.
So how does coaching help people gain clarity and direction in their lives? I mean, I know that's a very broad question, but usually when people say, a life coach helps me do this, but how? Let's dig into that. Like, how does coaching help people gain clarity and direction in their lives?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the same, that asking the right questions.
Mhm.
And first of all, the coach has the most important thing is to build a safe environment.
Mhm.
And we are human beings. We are full of emotions. We are full of stories. We are full of beliefs. So everyone has their own story. One thing is our real story, and one thing is what the story we have built in our minds. And we all do all the time. We have like, there is a positive side, there is a negative side who is dragging us all the way on the both sides, and we have like, okay, this is maybe that's maybe what my story is, that's what my belief is. So a real strong coach will actually help you by asking the questions, the right questions, the difficult questions, the strategic questions, of digging into like, what is your story, what are you telling yourself. I can give you an example. For example, if I'm saying to myself all the time, I want to be the CEO of a company,
Okay.
and this is my story, this is my belief.
Mhm.
I It doesn't mean that I cannot be. I'm just saying that this is my belief. And it's interesting. I like a real life story is that example is that I asked someone who came up with like, I want to be the CEO.
Mhm.
Okay, great, perfect. So what does that mean to be a CEO? And then that's just the first question, right? And then the client starts like, I'm dealing with this company. I am managing this big team. And I was like, okay, figure yourself, like imagine yourself doing it. What does it look like? How is your day looking like? And the next question, right? And then you break it down. Okay, my day is looking like this. And then, okay, so what are you doing with your family? Where is your family? And interestingly, that person when started us replying the questions and getting into the part of the family, and then okay, so I want to see them, and they're not there, and it turned out to be that family was the first main priority, first main value, and the person realized that I don't want to be the CEO. And I was like, how come? That's a big difference from like you started from that you want to be, and then you're saying that you don't want to be. What happened in between? So I'm cutting story short. It's just like the realization of things we want and we
Mhm.
don't want comes strongly out by coaching, because the thing that he came to me was like, I want to be the CEO, was just a belief that he had or what people expect him to be.
Mm.
So these are the outside thinkings, and then you build a belief because of the pressure or whatever that is. And
Mm.
then you realize that that's not your value. That's not what you really want. What is that you really want? And that did not match, because
Mm.
he was just holding fast on a story, on a belief that was actually not him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's very interesting because I do think that especially here in Singapore, we do get a lot of people being bred into expectations,
Mhm.
societal expectations in our context. Um and I think a lot of reasons why people are seeing burnout in their career now. And it doesn't matter whether it's corporate or some other form of vocation, but the increasing number of people getting burnout, I feel, is largely because it's a misalignment between what truly is important to them
Mm.
and a huge misalignment with their values. And I speak from personal experience, right? That I've always been raised in a certain manner and with a certain expectations put on me. And I've grown up to embrace those as my expectations of myself.
Mm.
Not saying that I disagree with them. In fact, if anything, I've learned to own and appreciate these expectations of me, because it's almost like my loved ones telling me, I can see this potential in you. You can get there, you can go there. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can. And I'll strive to get there. I would say maybe for me personally, like about 50% of it is really something that I appreciate. I like that direction and I have embraced it as my own. But I did have to work on sorting out the other 50%. Because obviously as life changes, as I move location or as I grow up with my different peers in my life or different work experience, I obviously would then feel, hey, maybe that's not what I want, or why am I failing in this, or why am I not feeling as good as I thought I would upon achieving this, right? Or why is it that I'm so happy to just drop everything and go, nah, I'm out of here. I'm not cut out for this, or I'm no longer interested in chasing this. So having a life coach really helped in establishing that, because it
Mm.
completely reframes my point of view that it's not that I'm a failure. It's not that I cannot achieve what I put my mind to. I have proven to myself in many other aspects that I can. But for the other aspects where I don't have that sticking power, like I'm like, oh no, I don't like it and I leave after 2 years. Oh no, I don't like it and I leave after 3 years. Why is that? And that's because I've not taken the time to sit down with a life coach to clearly identify what are my values in this current point in time in my life. What is it that I truly want to achieve for the remainder of my life? And what's important in my life now? And how does it all square? How does it all triangulate, right? Um, and I think once I've had those few sessions with my life coach, that was so empowering, because it gave me that very clear runway. It's like
Mm.
all the forest was just removed from my vision. I see the runway, I know my target, I enjoy that target, and I'm off, right?
Yeah.
And as tiring as that journey could be, I'm very energized even though I'm tired. So,
Mm.
so what you've shared, in terms of that clarity and direction, it's easy for us, I think, to say it, right? But I think it's only once somebody has gone through it, and we can tell those who have been kind of converted, those who have life coach, right? They can attest to this feeling of empowerment and clarity. And I don't think
Mm.
you'll find such people having that symptom of burnout. As
Yeah.
tired as they are, they're not burnt out. They're in fact very energized and very passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that, and thanks for sharing your own personal experience. It also reminds me of your example, like people having like thoughts or expectations from you, right?
Mm.
I have interesting example on the opposite side, where which comes from my personal life, that people having less expectations from a certain
Mm.
individual, right? And then like, okay, so let's say in a family set scenario, there are four kids, and you know that, okay, these two, it's coming from all the way from our upbringing parents. Okay, you two are going to be doctors or engineers or this or that, and or there is one person who is like, no, you don't need to work hard, you don't need to do that, whatever that comes from. So my own life, personal life experience that has come through, like, okay, why is that expectation very low for that for one certain kid, right?
Mm.
And maybe that kid is more capable and can do more, has more potential. So why is this? And then it took years to understand, okay, why is that coming from? So I'm literally talking about myself right now. So for
Mm.
me personally, it came to like, okay, why is that happening? I can do more. I'm capable of doing this. I'm capable of doing that, right? So what is that that is limiting their beliefs?
Mm.
So that's why it's so important. Like, it's not just like you say someone to like, it can be harmful. Like, okay, you are supposed to be a doctor. It's
Mhm.
is equally harmful to the person that you are not supposed to be anything, or yeah, you don't need to, right? So in
Mm.
their mind, they are living their whole entire new worlds. That's where life coach can really truly help you to figure out what's hidden inside. What is it that you value? What are your values? What are your important things in life? So I think your point was spot on. Really like that.
It's so interesting that you raised the converse, and I'm so glad you did, because I feel I've observed in some of the younger generation, right? They're very lost. And it's really because they grew up in a generation where their parents, are a little bit more sensitive about trying to be more open-minded, to allow an individual and appreciate their child's individuality, right? And say you can be whatever you want.
Mm.
But what ends up happening is exactly what you said. There's no compass, there's no direction at such a young age. They don't know what they want. They've tried and they've been empowered to try almost everything that they want to try because, parents will say, here, you want to try piano? Go ahead. You want to try out for the soccer team? Go ahead. You want to try. We are here to support you, whatever you want to do, wherever you want to go. And they will find that, yeah, I can do all of this,
Mm.
generally speaking, but they have not found themselves, right? And there's a common feedback that I hear. They don't know what they're supposed to be good at. They don't know what they're supposed to do, right? And then when they're trying to figure out what courses they're going to take at university, they have no idea. So they're
Mhm.
governed by one thing and one thing only, which is what's the starting pay,
Mm. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And
Mm.
that's such
Mhm.
a sad way to approach your career. That's having said that, it's not unfixable because, like I said, coaching is something that happens throughout your life at any point in time. But you raise a very interesting point. The
Mm.
converse of being too lackadaisical about where your potential is, where your direction is, has unfortunate consequences, right? In
Yep.
confusing people. And
Mm.
that's where I think all the more a life coach is very helpful in helping an individual truly appreciate what he or she is cut out for, I suppose, or is truly passionate about. Whether you're 20, whether you're 30, whether you're even
Exactly.
50, or even 60, right? When you're retired, you're like, what do I do in my life now?
Yeah. It's
Right?
it's called life coach. Yeah. As
Yeah.
long as you live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
so I think we've covered through our sharing, right, how coaching will help individuals build that resilience and adaptability. Because ultimately, if you keep checking with a life coach, you keep realigning, recalibrating it based on your life as it evolves. That's how you build resilience. Resilience is not just being about having that grit and then surviving through challenging times or surviving through a toxic work environment. It's nothing to do with that, although that seems to be the perception.
Mm.
Resilience is truly about a calibration, I feel like realigning what is it that you truly want. Because once you're aligned, you're very clear and you'll definitely be able to power through everything because you have a fixed goal, you're locked in, you're zeroed in on that goal. And that's your resilience talking. Your adaptability is just really you answering to your recalibration with your life coach. But I want
Mm.
to therefore talk about the mindset because it's easy for us to say this, right? But I think mindset plays a huge role in personal growth. I've encountered so many people who are aware of the virtues of having a life coach, but something just stops them from reaching out and engaging one. So I'm sure you've spoken to many people who are very curious about what you do. What's a life coach? And they'll, oh, sounds good, sounds good. How do you get them over that hurdle, that mental hurdle to say, I'm gonna do this for myself. I'm gonna
Mm.
invest in this. I'm gonna take a life coach. What do you
Yeah.
think, Maria?
So mindset is everything. There you have it. So mindset is everything. So very first important thing is, of course, you cannot force life coaching on someone.
Yeah.
It is a two-way partnership, and you have to commit to it fully. And of course, you would say like, how can you make someone to commit to it, right?
Mm,
The answer to that is no, I cannot make someone. Yes, but I can help them replying to the questions or asking them to the follow-up questions of what they're curious about. So it's, I think the best way to do it is like, okay, what is it that, where are you, if you are wondering about life coaching, so one question you can ask yourself is, okay, so where am I in my life? Let's say you have nothing to, like, you are very satisfied in your career, you have a great relationship, you are healthy and happy, everything is perfect, which is great. I would say, like, ask yourself where you are at in your life,
okay.
and where would you like to be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. You put the number on that.
Mm,
And what is it going to look like, right? If anything of these resonates with you,
mm,
life coaching can be great for you.
okay.
And it doesn't mean, like, again, we saying the words that it's not about fixing something. It's not about that you have issues. It's not about that you have a problem.
Yeah.
As long as you're living, you have a life going on. And I always give the examples of the seasons in a year. There are 4 seasons. So
Mm.
you when the winter is there, it can be extreme cold, and how you prepare for that. And it's not like that you can skip winter this year. Winter is gonna come, right?
Yeah.
So when you prepare for that, winter is gonna also eventually end, and then you have a better, or you move towards the fall, the autumn, the summer. It keeps in circles, right? So it's about navigating through all the seasons. So if your life is going perfect, it's great. At the same time, the resilience comes in, right? When there
Mhm.
is gonna be some kind of challenge in your life, and how you prepare for that, how you build for that, and are you so are you here and you're just fine? You're just completely fine. What's next? If you ask yourself these questions, we are human beings. We are always hungry for more. We are always looking for something more. And the one tiny thing I actually always tell to myself is, I want to wake up every day and want to say, like, I'm the better version of myself than yesterday.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So if
Yep.
I only have this little thing in my mind, I'm working really hard every day to, like, okay, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that I did something really wrong yesterday and I have to fix it. Again, I just want to be the better version of me than yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That keeps you going and that brings growth. So if you
Yeah.
want growth in life, if you want clarity in life, if you want goals and vision in your life, what are you wanting? What are you needing? A life coach can
Yeah.
actually help you.
You raise I am That's very interesting that you raised that because um there are moments when somebody can feel content. Or even, there are some people who just say, I just want to be content. I just want to have everything okay around me. That I'm not even hungry for anything beyond that. I just want to be happy and content. But at the same time, especially for those who are more mature in their life, they will recognize that that sense of peace and contentment is very fleeting. It's not to say they will never get it again, or that if they don't have it for a long periods of time, that something is wrong necessarily. But it's really about, if you think short term and transient and you're content, you're missing the bigger picture, which is life is really truly up and down because a lot of it is outside of your control. So do you just ride the waves of going up and down, up and down, up and down, and have those little moments and fleeting moments of contentment, or that feeling of contentment or satisfaction? Or do you actually be very, I want to say, very crazily happy as you're riding through that waves, right? Like in my mind right now, I have a vision of a rower or a surfer who is just surfing the waves. And whether it's up or down, he's got this big smile on his face because he's going, yeah, this is life, right?
Great
And I'm
analogy.
surfing through it, right? It's not like, oh, okay, this is the downside. Oh, great, I caught a big wave. It's just the entire session, of surfing or rowing. You're living it so happily. So like I said at the start, right, I can see when someone has a life coach or has gone through life coaching, because these are the people who, no matter what comes their way, they are always just going for it. They're just full of energy, so dynamic. And so nothing seems to phase them, because even the bad times, they're like, all right, I'm tackling this, I'm doing this, and they're just enjoying the moment. Though obviously they're stressed in that moment, but they're enjoying that moment because there's something out of it, right? So when you raise that point about looking at things, the winter, the seasons, you're right. We will go through all 4 seasons. And, when you raised that before in another session that we had, right, that always sits in my mind, because there'll be moments where I feel it's like such a good day today. It's like a spring day, right? Beautiful
Mhm.
weather. My kids are great. My relationship is great. My colleagues love me. Business is going great. Yeah, but at the back of my mind, and it's not about pessimism, but at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to hold on to this moment because I know I'm not going to do this
Yes.
every day. I'm going to enjoy this moment, but I'm also going to know that this energizes me, so that the next time when I have my autumn, my winter, I know I will come back to this moment one day because I'm on a path. I know what I want to do. And this is just part of the journey, which I thoroughly enjoy because it's my journey.
Yes. Yes, that's so beautiful, Michelle, listening to all that. It's so beautiful. It's exactly what it is about because you're building that energy, you're holding on to that. It's like a solar power
Yes,
effect, right? So
yes.
you are catching all the light in the morning, and so you can light up at night. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's just so powerful. And we started with the word mindfulness, and how that mindset is important. And that's exactly what it is. When you tell your mind that, okay, this is just a moment, I have to keep. And also, I sometimes hear the words when people say, like, oh, it's a failure. I fail. I was like, that's a stepping stone. I have changed the word failure to stepping stone. I always tell, like, okay, the failure is a stepping stone for me because if I didn't have that, how can I be go? How can I enter the next step? That step taught me something that, oh, okay, this is what you need to do for the next time. If
Mm,
I didn't have that, I would just keep going in blindly. And then I would have maybe that way later in the life or the
mm,
journey I am on, right?
mm,
So all these things, when my clients are often using these words, I'm like changing into like, okay, stepstone one, stepstone two, stepstone three, keep walking on these. These are the ones who are actually keep showing you the path where to go. It's
yeah.
not ended it. So I really loved your example. So
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah.
You raised a point about failure. I want to bring this up because I think 5 years ago, or maybe even beyond that, there's this phrase that I'm now a little bit sensitive about, which is the fell fast, right? You know, like just fell many times, just fell fast. It's such a startup lingo during the Silicon Valley days when they were thriving. But unfortunately, without a person understanding the context of it, I'm seeing some people um using that and hanging on that for the wrong reasons. So what I mean is that there are many people, especially some of the younger ones, who are, for lack of a direction, they're using this term. Just try as many times as you can, just fail fast and then move on. But to me, that's just you're just being lost. You're just moving
Mhm.
around, dabbling in every single thing with no clear direction. And that's not the culture that startup Silicon Valley was espousing. You know, they were coming from the stepping stone analogy that you were giving, which is you have a direction, you're gonna trip along the way, but pick up, move on. There'll be other stones, pick up, move on, right? Just keep
Mm.
moving, fell fast, move on
Mm.
fast, stepping stone, hop on
Yeah.
each one quickly, but you have a direction that you're heading towards. Versus try this, didn't work, in terms of life, right? Like I'm gonna try this, maybe I might be good at this. Oh, okay, I'll move on. Oh, I'm gonna start up an F&B cafe. Oh, they work out, I'm gonna move on. Oh, I'm gonna try being a life coach, right? And then I'll go and try and get a certificate, and then that doesn't happen, and then they move on. All kinds of things. So I'm gonna be, I don't know what else. I'm gonna be a startup founder, right? And then it didn't work out, no business. Okay, it's okay. I'm failing fast. I'm moving on. I'm thinking, no, 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 no. You're just lost.
Mm,
Right.
mm. And that's a great example of if people of anyone who is listening is like that's kind of an example. If you are in the middle of something like that, because there could be stage of life, could be
Mm,
just who you are in your circumstances, right? So if these are the things that are showing up again and again,
yeah,
I would recommend to have a discovery session with a coach. Like
yeah.
what's happening? What's going on? Where do I need to gain clarity? Where is my true path is? What my true vision is? Because these things are also it's nothing wrong with you. These are very normal things. We are human beings, and we are surrounded by so many outside noises and pressures and peers and families and work, right? So it's very natural to have all these thoughts. But again, if you are stuck in those thoughts each and every day,
Yeah,
then it's like, okay, then you need to think about it. Okay, what do I really want? What
yeah.
should I have my focus on? What is that is taking my energy and what is that is giving me energy? So all these things are important. And then it's having a life coach as your partner is
Mm,
something that you really should invest in.
yeah. You mentioned earlier on about how coaching is all about accountability, right? So walk us through that process. What do you mean about you holding that person, accountable, and why is accountability such a powerful part of that coaching process?
Yeah, the great example for that is working out. So
Okay.
yeah, so
You mean like personal training?
yes, I
Okay.
love personal training, and I also do my training sessions with my husband. So we are kind of holding each other accountable as well. So it's I would say, like, if you're going to a gym and you want to build muscles and you're doing that once a month, are
Mm,
you really gonna get the results? Like, let's say I want results in 6 months. Am I really gonna get results in by doing 6 sessions? No. So or if I do once a month and then I forget for 2 months and then there's nothing, no action, and then after 3 months I'm like disappointed. So these are the things you don't want to feel disappointed. You don't want to feel
yeah.
like I couldn't do it. You can do it. You were capable of doing it. What happened in between was there was no action and there was no accountability. So no one was holding you accountable for doing that. So coach is as a partner also holding you accountable for your actions. So
Mm,
I always also tell people, like, we are not lacking dreams or we are not lacking ideas. We are smart human beings. Each and individual have unique strengths. They have the ideas and goals and missions in their mind, but the thing that is missing is action. So that's the bridge. The action is the bridge between your goals and vision and your thoughts, right? That actually that happens. So holding someone accountable means that you actually are taking those action steps that will move you towards closer and closer towards your goals. So coach can help you, support you. I have recently had a client who came with a very specific timeline that I need career change. This is my timeline. I have to do this. And my one simple request from the client was like, okay, if we together make a plan, action plan,
mm,
can I hold you accountable?
mm,
So, and there was a clear, like, yes. Every second week we had sessions, and every second week he followed the plan. He did all the actions and completed all the tasks within that timeline. He
mm,
actually gained what he wanted.
mm,
And my job as a coach was to, again, mirror the client, hold him
mm,
accountable,
mm.
make sure the actions are done, and the actions need to be done by the client. So
Yeah.
it's, again, it's a mix of now everything coming up, right? It's the mindset that you're driven, that you know what the path is. There's the
Mm,
coach who is holding you accountable, so you have to kind of report to the coach, right? So if you
yeah.
do all the steps, success is guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very interesting when you say, when you have somebody to answer to when you have accountable to your coach, right? It's so interesting because I think, we spend most of our lives, especially those in the career, in the corporate world, being answerable to a client, being answerable to a colleague, being answerable to your supervisor. And we will be very dogmatic about, okay, I really need to submit this because I have to prepare for this, yada, yada, yada. But then they don't have somebody to answer to and be accountable for when it comes to their life. They honestly should be accountable to themselves and to the loved ones around them. But without such, I suppose, a guidepost or milestones, right? They would never think to be answerable for certain things, certain progress with their life.
Mm.
So it's interesting that you raise that accountability part, and I want to draw the distinction that it's not about having another person to answer to, but it's about prioritizing of all the people that you're answerable to, put yourself first.
Yes.
Everyone else are just transient. It
Mm.
might not even be people you want to answer to for the long run anyway.
Yeah.
But have that clarity, and the one person that you should be answerable to is yourself. And the coach is there. People
Yeah.
like Maria is there to help you figure out what is it that you want to be answerable for that fits your purpose, your life, your values.
Yeah.
That brings me to the point that I think we really need to address, which is a lot of people think and associate coaching with people who are executives, high achievers. These are people you hear. So it's so interesting because, like I said, you will always know when someone is has a life coach in their life because you always see them very successful and they're very passionate and they're always like so dynamic in terms of their energy and their actions, right? Such that it gives out this notion the life coaching are only for the C-suites, the high achievers, the executives, those on the high potential path. What do you say to that, Maria? I'm sure you've had clients who are like those and maybe those who aren't.
Yeah, yeah, Michelle. I do have clients who have actually started a discovery session in the same direction that, Is there something you just provide to executives, top potential performers, and or is it like this side? And my question is always to them, like I think I mentioned it earlier, like if you're having a fulfilled life, it's great, perfect. But the fact that you also like can ask yourself like, where am I at life right now, and where am I going? What's in? It doesn't necessarily come from like, okay, I'm a top executive or not, or do I have to have a career problem or issue, or do I have to have a relationship issue? It's just I keep asking that question to myself every day, and
Okay.
like, okay, where am I right now in my life? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to be seeing myself in few years? And what's important to me? And I think also it's important for some for people to understand that things important to us in certain stage of life might change.
Yeah.
That yeah, according to our own life situation, circumstances. the one example is when you have, for example, I'm coming from an example of like I am a mother myself, so I have a kid,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
and I have a daughter. When she was 5 years old, my way of being around her was different than she's a 14-year-old that I need to be around her right now, right? So it's also like what stages of life you're going through. My needs, my changes, my demands, my vision changes.
Mhm.
So no matter where you are at life, I
Mhm.
would just say, like, ask yourself simple questions.
Yeah.
What's important to you? Where do you want to be? And where you are right now, what is it like to be? What's happening? So it's just like coaching will provide you the clarity and will give you, it's a great investment in your own life. You don't necessarily need to or change or fix anything. Like I said, it's not about that. It's about clarity. It's about knowing your values. We never talk about these things, and that's something I learned through my coaching journey. That I knew in my deep down somewhere that okay, for example, this is my value. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. Right? When you really dig down deep down in yourself, and then you get the clear answer on like, okay, why I react to these situations, why I am sad or mad, why I'm super excited in these
Mhm.
particular situations, that's because it's directly related to your values.
Yeah.
And even if you don't know, we can figure it out. We can get a clarity by having coaching sessions.
Okay. So this brings me to a question. So I'm recognizing that we have like 15 minutes left. So we're gonna get to some of the questions. And it just so happens that this question coincides with what I was gonna ask you. Um, and what you were saying, can coaching work if I don't have a specific goal in mind yet?
Yes, a big yes.
Okay. Yeah, perhaps you can explain why?
Yes. The reason for that is that you might not have a goal in your mind,
Mm.
but you are a living being. Your life is going on. Having understanding your where you are right now and what's important to you in your life. I think it's more about like a coach is built in asking the right questions and strategic questions. So having to just share your, like I said, like, okay, share that you have a perfect career, perfect relationship, everything. So I can guarantee you that the coach will ask you the questions that you will answer, and then you will have a clarity of, okay, so that's what I am probably lacking on or have more focus on, or what's the best version of me tomorrow.
Okay. So, and this next question, I can understand where it's coming from. It's usually financial and cost related. How long does it usually take to see real results from coaching?
A great question.
Mm.
The one simple answer to that is it depends on what you want coaching on
Okay.
and what's your expectation from coaching and how accountable you are for your actions. So it's a mix of everything. So if you are coming with the, like I gave example, someone came to me and like within 6 months, I want career change. I don't have time, and he's very committed.
Mm.
It's not gonna be on like you come and give me 6 months and you don't do the action part. I can say that it's not going to go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So it needs action from both sides, commitment from both sides, and if you have, I think also that immediate. I'll give you actually one example that's going to give you more clarity on. Okay, so if you have a coach, a discovery session, maybe even one or two sessions, only within a couple of sessions you will see, you will feel the clarity, you will understand the values, you will understand your big picture.
Yeah.
Within 4 to 10 sessions, if you have a career stuckness, let's say that's the topic, you will see
Mm.
change. You will see your own behavior. You will see your own transformational journey within 4 to 10 sessions.
Yeah.
If you want a life coach who you just want to be as a partner for anything happening every day or every month or you can have a life coach for life.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
basically depends on where and what your needs are.
Yeah. I'm gonna there's a very interesting question. I'm gonna add on to a question. So this will be a two-part question. The question that's coming in is what should I look for when choosing the right life coach for me? I have a follow-up or tag on question to that is, can ChatGPT be a life coach for me?
Very interesting questions. The first part is what should I look for? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so in coaching world now you will see there are coaches who are specifically doing like relationship coaching. There are coaches who are doing career coaching. There are coaches who are doing high potential women, and they're only like men. So you will find, of course, a lot of categories. So if you really want to like, okay, I want a coach who is doing high potential women and I want a career change, yes, of course, you can have a discovery session with that coach. But what the most important thing, coming from my personal experience, is which I have also seen the clients appreciate, is the chemistry and
Mm-hmm.
the accountability part. Because I think also it's very important that there are so many coaches out there. What's important to you? What are your expectations? And what are your time limits? Some coaches are like, okay, I'm gonna give you assignments every week, or I'm gonna do this, that with you, because some clients appreciate that. That's what they are, how they are built up, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
you. The first question you need to ask is to yourself: what is your style? What would you like your coach to be? Do you want your coach to be your partner throughout this journey, or you want your coach to be like, okay, holding you really strongly committed to this, and then you figure it out by having the discovery session. Is that the right fit for me?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are so many different build up situations and like personalities. We don't want to do a wrong connection. And
Yeah.
by if I can just build up on that quickly, that if you have that, if you feel like that's not the right fit for you, I would say like it's always a possibility to communicate openly and honestly with your coach. And then
Mm.
sometimes the coaches even recommend that, okay, I think for this, you might be suitable for this coach, and I will recommend you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay,
it's,
I think
yeah.
that's good to know, because the last thing I want is for someone to go into a life coaching session, right? And just think, and then they move on or they hop around. And oftentimes I would say you have to understand, as a one-to-one service,
Yes.
it's very important that you also identify what style you prefer when it comes to such personal service. It's just like going to a hairdresser,
Mm.
or even going to a personal trainer. For example, I've got some clients who say, you know, I don't like it when they're too pushy. I'm like, okay, it's good that you know that, you're aware, and I can inform the trainer, right? And likewise, you can say that, yeah, but he didn't really point out anything. He just walked me through the processes, right? And I'm thinking, okay, so you actually want something more structured. You want somebody to be a little bit firmer with you, right? Like, okay, give me, no, you can do it, that kind of coaching or that kind of personal training. So I always say that our experts are able to cater to a whole spectrum of personalities and styles, but you just have to unlock it by being open with your preferences. But
Yeah.
to unlock that, and I think this is why your discovery session is critical, is sometimes some people don't know what the experience should feel like, right?
Mm.
So they'll
Mm.
just come in and they usually take that passenger seat, right? I'll let you drive me, I'll let you lead me, and then I'll decide whether I like it or not. And the discovery session is a way for the coach to kind of help you figure out, did you want something more structured, or do you want something a little bit more of a gentle hand holding, a gentle nudging, you know? Uh,
Mm.
and so actually to answer that question, I will also add on to say, If the coach is able to adapt or ask you or help you figure out what kind of dynamic you want from that coach, that's a good coach because that person is all about you.
Yes, yes. It's all about the client. It's all about the client.
Uh-huh.
And that's what we actually keep reminding. So I can also add in one thing, Michelle, which is very important. So after discovery session, usually we make up a plan. So the next session is usually that,
Mm,
okay, we really dig deeper into like, okay, what is that you want? There is always a topic. So the client always comes with a topic. And
yeah.
sometimes they just change the topic and it's fine. It's completely fine. So
Yeah.
when we make the house rules, the ground rules, it's one more important thing which I keep reminding them is we can always change. We can always switch around. We can always, it's not my agenda. It's always client's agenda. So
Yeah.
if you come up with like, I don't want to talk about the topic we have been talking for 6 months, for example, I just
Mm,
want to focus on this, then we focus on that because
yeah.
you are coaching is where you are right now. And that's why it's very important for a coach to create that safe environment. That client is
Mm-hmm.
not feeling like, oh my God, if I go back to the coach and she or he's going to be mad at me because I didn't. It's not about that. So it is always your agenda. So you should always come to a room where you just feel like you can say anything, you can do anything, any emotion is welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's another thing, right? Yeah, you raise a very important point, which is some people may feel like I don't want to I don't want to have to do work or rather not that they don't want to, but they always feel nervous like, oh, I'm supposed to like have figured this out or do a 10-step plan by the time I have my next coaching session, and they get stressed over that. And I'm thinking that
Yeah.
that's not how it works. Not at all how it
No, and
works.
then we explore that. That's exactly what it is. Then we explore
Yeah.
that. What happened?
Yeah.
What came in your way? That's the way you get hold onto your own capabilities more and more. You know yourself more and more. Okay, that's why I believe this is the most important investment you can do in your life. Having a
Yeah.
life coach. Yeah.
Totally agree. So on that note, then my follow-up question, right, which is, and I do get people doing this, which is I can just use ChatGPT to be my coach, right?
Yes. You can use GPT for everything these days. I think
So what's the difference then to have a coach that's not a ChatGPT coach or a generative AI coach, whatever brand they use?
yeah, I think the most important, I would actually have, if I was in a real life coaching session now, I would have asked a client, what do you think? What's
Mm,
the difference, right? And it can vary, the answer can vary from very different from person to person. And the reason of asking that question is actually, yeah, it's also like, what do I really want? And it's again like a belief, building a belief. Okay, I have a belief that I'll ask ChatGPT and it will give me answers.
yeah.
Yeah, it's ChatGPT is of course more advanced. It gives more like it will look like a coaching session answers, which
Mhm.
is fine. But is that gonna hold you accountable? Is that your
Yeah, they're not going
yeah?
to ping
Is
you in the middle of the night and go, hey.
yes, yes. And is that someone who is because if you don't go back and put in your add in something yourself,
Mm,
ChatGPT is not going to send you a message and say like, okay, how are you doing? What's going on? Where is your action that you were supposed to do? And
yeah,
what's and if you I would just take it to another level. And if you come with your sadness or you actually chat gpt is not going to see your tears or your face
yeah.
expressions or your which I value personally a lot. I mean, we are human beings
Mm,
and chat gpt is not going to read in between your lines, the words you're not saying. A
yeah.
coach, a good coach, will read the words you're not saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I 100% agree that because obviously I have a life coach, and I've also tested the generative AI and given some similar questions to see what they would say. And while some of the answers may sound very agreeable from the ChatGPT, right? It there's a huge limit to it, which is one, they don't see you. They kind of guess you. They're trying to learn from you what it is that you want, and they kind of try to reflect the desirable answers to you. I mean, that's what they're geared for, right? They're trying to learn from you and then give you an answer that seems to assure you and seems to pacify you, or make you feel like, yeah, I'm on the right track. But are you really? And
Mm.
I think you're right that having a actual human being, be a life coach, a good coach. Not all coaches out there are good, I must say. But if you have a good life coach, you will see it, you will feel it. And everyone around you will see it and will feel
Mm,
it too. I think
mm,
that's the litmus test there. I think maybe we have time for maybe one or two more questions.
mhm.
Let's see what I'll pick one good one. Okay. Is coaching only useful when I'm going through big life changes? Um, and can it be an ongoing tool? And if so, what's a good frequency? That's a loaded question right there, Maria.
Yeah, I think we kind of also answered that question, I believe, because we were talking about the executives and high potential career or stuckness, and so it's obviously it's a personal coming from personal experience. I would say it's a life ongoing thing, and you don't need to be. You're not supposed to sit and wait for like, okay, I need to have a big issue or I need to have something to be fixed. Like I said, it's nothing wrong with you. It's nothing to be fixed. We are human beings. It's life. It has all its seasons. So it to get the clarity and the confidence and the self doubt, the limitations, just to avoid these things. I think life coach is a great partner and investment in your life. And I'm quickly going to go back to your Michelle example that you gave that I really appreciated. Like we are so fixed on like, oh, we have to answer our parents, we have to answer our
Right.
colleagues, and we have to like, and we really put our stuff together to deliver, and we are holding accountable, right? Because oh, like teacher is going to check my test tomorrow, and we do that, and we actually put effort and time in it. If we just put a fraction of that for our own life, for our own values, for ourselves, imagine how powerful that can be. We are probably going to be performing in every field way stronger because we know where we're coming from, who we truly are. Instead of just having to work from or to do our actions from the fixed beliefs or the expectations from others or our own self-built expectations, which maybe are not true. So
Yeah.
I think again, like investment in your just knowing to your deeper down what you want, what you really truly your values are is the biggest investment you can do.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think, a lot of people, I feel, look at the wrong things to make life decisions. Now, and I'm going to say this with a lot of humility here. There's a lot of people, and I can totally appreciate this. They're looking at their daily life and looking at your survival needs, right? Or what you need. So I'm going to put money aside for my kids because I want them to thrive. I will be selfish if I put that money in myself. Or things are tight this month, or I've just been retrenched. I can't afford such a luxury self-enrichment experience going through counseling or through coaching or going through personal training. And I say that's the most topsy-turvy answer you can tell yourself, because and I can understand why, because we've been brought up that way. But the key to unlock everything, especially if you're wondering why you're always stuck in the same rut, is truly because the answer is topsy-turvy. You do need to look within yourself first. You do need to have that clarity. You do need to address your emotional roadblocks. You do need to address mental roadblocks, self-limiting beliefs, lack of accountability to yourself, against your own compass. If you don't have all of that, if you don't have physical health, then you're gonna keep struggling. You're gonna feel more and more depressed. And we all know that in Singapore, especially, we're getting a lot of issues with mental health. Life coaching and counseling is not about addressing just your mental health issues. It's helping you to be very strong, mentally fit, right? Before you even have a problem. It's just like being like Paymin. So in case Maria didn't hear last week, Paymin said it's like going to a dentist. You don't wait until your tooth is rotting before you go for a checkup. So we use the same analogy when it comes to health, mental or physical or both. You
Mm,
don't wait until you're in dire straits before you seek support. And
mm,
support is not a dirty word. Support is just like you going to a friend, you going to a loved one, you reading a book even. That's support. But it starts with someone, yourself, taking that action. Again, I speak very fondly about this because I took action, and I've seen people who do. And when we're in this position, we look at those around us and we desperately wish that you can join us on that same journey because it's a very profound journey. I feel like I'm evangelizing here. Um, like I said, Maria and I can only do what we can, which is to keep putting that message out there. But at the end of the day, you do have to want to take action, and to invest in yourself, to look after yourself first, because like I said, once you do, everybody else will benefit, everybody else around you, 100%. So
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
yeah, so I'm gonna ask Maria, I'm gonna wrap this up. So Maria, just one last thing. What's one thing you wish that more people understood about life coaching?
Oh,
We covered
yeah.
a lot today, I know.
Yes. Yeah, I think the one thing that people don't realize is maybe that how accessible that is.
Mm,
So I think people often think like, okay, and then get into too many questions of like how and where and what. I would say it's especially in these days we have it very easily available. So there are different sources. There's so many things you can do, and even if you are hesitating still out there and thinking of like, should I be doing a discovery session or not? There are many podcasts out there. There are so many online webinars. They're like one of this what you're doing, Michelle, and so have a look. Give yourself a little bit of time, try to understand, and then ask yourself the simple questions again, which we have repeatedly said during this webinar, that what is that truly matters for you and where are you at life? What would you like? So I think we covered a lot today, Michelle, but I would just still say that uh, reach out, have a discovery session, and if one thing you can give yourself as a gift is that just have one session and feel it and see what you can. And again, it's people still think that it's not easily accessible, so it is.
it
And
is. Thank
yeah,
you for
and
saying that it is.
it is, and it is. I mean, we couldn't just we can keep going on and on.
Yes,
We
we
have personally felt it, and that's I think the beauty of it is like if you just have experienced something nice. I can give you example like if in a mother daughter or son relationship, it's like a nurturing thing, right? So you experience something, you always want your kids to do better than you, right? You
Mhm.
always want your kids to be at a better place than you because it's coming from nature. It's a mother nature. I think for me, because coaching is very close to my heart, I really feel that that's something that we all should have investment in. Is also like once I have also been in this field for a long time now, and I have felt it. I have seen the transformation, the power of
Mhm.
it.
Mm.
I want everyone to be part of it, and
Yeah,
that's fulfillment for me. That everyone should have the ability, and this is not something that it's a weird example. I would say like this is not something like I want to be the CEO of a company.
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
is this is for everyone. This is for everyone who is in any kind of life situation.
yeah,
It's just the clarity. It's just like knowing yourself, knowing your values. Have a more firm plan for what your life is about. It's so valuable.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, we said, Maria. So with that, I want to thank you, Maria, for spending this hour with us and for sharing your insights, and having this dialogue with me. I really appreciate that. I want to thank the audience for being part of this journey. I hope these sessions inspire you to invest in yourself, in your wellness, and harness it as the powerful tool it truly is. So join us next week for our finale episode, part 3, Fit for Success, where Gregory Lowe, our personal trainer and nutritionist, will focus on how our physical health impacts our capacity to succeed. So until then, until I see you next week, to Maria, to everybody else listening and watching, we wish you good health inside and out. Thank you very much.
Michelle, thank you, everyone.